Hi all, thank you for joining us today. This is a presentation on how to volunteer in the LGBTQ+, Black, Indigenous, people of color, disabled communities over the 40 days of peace. My name is Callum. I use they, he pronouns, and I live on the traditional land of the Munsee Lenape in northwest New Jersey. The 40 Days of Peace, as you probably already know, are going to run from January 15th to February 28th, 2021. So how to get involved with these communities that I just mentioned. First, you can go to our social media and sign a pledge that you are going to volunteer during this time. So you can head over to our Twitter at RethinkingCom or the We Campaign, or our Instagram at Rethinking Community, or at the We Campaign. Once you get there, you can download this graphic and you can fill in your name and the date, and you can upload it back to your social media, and you can add us on any of these platforms, and you can use hashtags Rethink Community and we, and tell us a little bit about how you're going to participate with these three communities over the next 40 days. So to volunteer, you can start volunteering with our Human Rights Campaign program called Mask Rethinking Community. To do that, you can go to we.net/volunteer and fill out the form, and you'll get connected with me, who is the head of the program. You can also volunteer in your communities, and this is something we strongly encourage to get you out in your local communities, which I know is hard during COVID. So I'm going to show some examples later about how you can stay safe while also volunteering your time to these communities. And like I said before, anything you do with these three communities, we'd love to see what you did. So you can add us on social media and use the hashtags Rethink Community and we, so that we can talk to you all about what you're doing and support you. You can also contribute to the Rethinking Community blog by writing about your personal experiences in these communities, current news, opinion pieces, and some educational resources that might be useful to people. You can email those writings with your information to humanrights@we.net. So how to get involved with We the World's human rights program called Mask Rethinking Community. This is a new program. I'm the creator of it, and we just started getting started with this in early December 2020. So it's still in the creation phase, but we can definitely use a lot of help. So a little bit about the program. The goal is to foster community and support among historically oppressed communities. We'll be serving the LGBTQ+ communities, Black, Indigenous, people of color, and disabled communities. We're going to have 4 initiatives. Mentorship, where people who are elders in the community, either in age or experience, can interact with mentees to help them through transitional times like applying for school, going into the workforce, as these are areas of life that can be really hard for people in these communities, and help them learn how to navigate these systems. Our affirmation program is going to be about giving identity affirming materials to people of these communities for free. So that might be gender affirming clothing, cultural food and needs, mobility aids, those kind of things. Scholarships, we're going to have a scholarship program that is for these communities that I know there are a lot of these out there, but these people can always use more. So scholarships for school, surgeries, hardship needs. A lot of people in these communities are disproportionately affected by COVID right now. So scholarship for those kind of things. And knowledge, the knowledge part is events like this, part of our How to Be an Ally series, which we'll have for each of the communities, events with partners, events with We the World, to help people in these communities and allies better understand struggles and issues and how to support these 3 communities. So how to volunteer with this program. Like I said, this program's in the creation phase. but we can definitely use a lot of help moving forward. We already have a small team of volunteers who are doing awesome work and really helping this program come to life. So we do have current position needs, but we can accommodate any skills. If this is something that sounds interesting to you, but maybe the positions that I mentioned in a second aren't of interest to you, but you have other skills, we can figure out how to make a position for you and let you help us. So to do this, first you can go to we.net/volunteer, fill out the form, and you'll be connected with me where we can discuss an orientation meeting and discuss what skills that you have and what you want to do. Some of the positions we can use right now is web design and development. We're going to be creating a website for this so that people can see the initiatives, donate, volunteer, and learn more about the program easier. Partner outreach. We really want to get involved with people and groups and organizations that are already helping these communities so that we can spread their message and they can help spread ours. Focus groups, we want to make sure this program is doing what these 3 communities need and not what we just think they need. So we want to have people who in these communities either help interview others in the community or be interviewed so that we can hear what these members really need out of our 4 initiatives so that we can support these 3 communities the best that we can. Fundraising, there's a lot of big ideas, as you've already heard. The affirmation materials we want to give away for free. The scholarship program, all of that's going to take money. So we definitely need people who want to help with fundraising, either have experience or want to learn so that we can get funds for all of our programs. So we need some coordinators, so people to head all the different projects we have. Research, like I said, we want to make sure that this is well developed and about what the communities actually need. So we're doing research, background research on the community's history, struggles, their needs. Right now we're focusing on the United States. Of course, in the future, we hope to make this international. So seeing what has gone on in these 3 communities in the United States, the blog writers, like I mentioned earlier, you can either be a continuous volunteer who writes for the blog that we're going to have, or you can always just email humanrights@we.net and give your writings for the 4 topics I mentioned. Again, that's opinion pieces, educational material, personal experiences, or current news within these 3 communities, and we can get your writing up there. Community engagement. We want to not only help these communities, but engage with the people we are helping to make it more personable so that these people aren't just names on the screen or in emails. So this is a position if you're interested in talking directly to these communities. This is something that you might like. And if you can't give time, you can always spread the word of the program. Like I said, our Twitter is at Rethinking Community or Rethinking Com. Oh, pardon me. And our Instagram is at Rethinking Community. And that's where all the updates are going to be about the program as it progresses. So ways to volunteer in your own community. Like I said, right now it's important to keep safe with COVID, so please follow any COVID restrictions. But there are a lot of ways that you can volunteer without having to put yourself or others in harm's way. You can call a local shelter and ask how to volunteer safely. They might be doing things virtually. You might be able to do intakes and things virtually, or you might even be able to go in on off hours and help with cleaning and stuff like that. Or they might actually need help with gathering supplies to keep the people in their shelter safe from COVID. You can visit a predominantly non-white neighborhood in your area and clean up litter and stuff like that. That can help you social distance while also helping the environment and the people in that community. You can also call a local LGBTQ plus center and see how you can volunteer during COVID. I live in New Jersey, like I said, and I know the Pride Center in New Jersey is doing things virtual now, so they'll have virtual support groups, events, and things like that. So possibly a place near you is also doing that, and you can get involved. You can donate to the local food pantry. Again, just call ahead and see what their restrictions are. Make sure the food that you are giving is not expired, and is also sanitized. You can share important social justice information on social media. Social media is extremely big these days, and this is where a lot of people get their information. So make sure that your information is accurate. Um, so double check your sources and do some research before posting things on social media. But this can be a very powerful way to get information out there about these three communities. And again, you can follow organizations, people, and groups that are already doing work on this, like the Human Rights Campaign would be an example, the ACLU. You can follow those people and you can retweet their stuff, and do some research on things they post and make your own post about it. So educate yourself on the topics related to these three communities. I think this is really important. That's the first step to supporting these communities, is to understand them. So you can read books, articles, watch movies, watch documentaries. Again, with COVID, a lot of things are online. If you go to your local university's website, you might be able to find some events that they're doing virtually on racism, on queer studies, on disabled communities. So right now, that is a nice thing about COVID, is a lot of things are on virtual, so there might be more events and things you can go to. Once again, double check your resources with books right now. There's a lot of books out about race that aren't the best and aren't the best resources that people should be learning from. So when you find a book that sounds interesting, try doing some researching on Google, and talking to people about if that resource is reliable. The next thing you can do, especially with information you just learned, you could set up a Zoom presentation with your friends and family to educate them. You could do a movie night watching a historical film about Stonewall, or different documentaries about LGBTQ plus, Black, Indigenous people of color, or disabled people. Or you can make a PowerPoint and have your friends and family sit down, have the resources for them, and be there to answer any questions that they have if you're able to, or you can always follow up afterwards after researching. You can ask your school, if you go to high school, middle school, even university, if there's ways to tutor underrepresented populations near you. They will probably be the easiest way to find this instead of having to just find people yourself. They usually will have a list. Even within the school, they might have students who need help who are a part of these three communities. And another way you can start in your community is starting a group of friends, family, different activists to start helping to implement the mask rethinking community initiatives I mentioned earlier of mentorship, affirmation, scholarship, and knowledge. So we have a few upcoming MLK events. The Rethinking Community program is going to partner with We the World on these, and you can watch them all here on this Crowdcast link. All of our MLK events for We the World will be on the same exact link. If you go to the link at the top of your screen, you're going to see schedule, and you can hit more, and it'll give you a drop down of all the upcoming events. We have about 25 scheduled right now, and that's an easy way. You can always just go to the same link. If not, you can watch on our Facebook at the Week Campaign, also on our YouTube at the Week Campaign. And after all the events happen, they will also be up on Facebook and YouTube. So upcoming events from Rethinking Community will be our How to Be an Ally series for LGBTQ plus community. So on January 30th from 3 to 4 Eastern Time, we're going to talk about how to be an ally to transgender and non-binary identities. Then on February 13th from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to talk about how to be an ally to asexual and aromantic identities. And then finally, on February 27th, we're going to talk about how to be an ally to pan and bi-attracted identities from 3 to 4 Eastern Time. And if you have any questions, about these 3 communities. If you need help finding resources, if you want recommendations for books, movies, places that are reliable for information, other ways you can get involved if you want to get involved in the things we talked about today don't work for you. Questions about the Mask Rethinking community program. All these questions can be answered if you email humanrights@we.net. And that's it for today. Thank you for joining us. If you can check us out on our social medias, and the next 40 days, we're going to have a lot of things coming up for MLK, for We the World, and those can be found at our Facebook at the We Campaign.